Hi there all, it's me Jim, Story and Song, and today I am recording my wrap up for the month of August. Now in August I read 17 books, which was probably my best reading month so far this year. It was a bit of a mixed bag. I had some books that I really loved and I had some books that I really did not love at all. Now, as with every month, I read a mixture of genres. I read quite a few fantasy. I read some fiction, sort of not fantasy, everything's fiction to me, and some non-fiction as well. So I'm going to start off with, let me see, I'm going to start off with Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I had been meaning to read this book for a long time. I had actually had the hardback since its release date, but not read it until now. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a good book. What I didn't enjoy about it was I hate that cliche at the end where the protagonist has to give up their power in order for X, Y, and Z to happen. It really just bugs the shit out of me. So I did deduct a star off it for that. All in all, I gave it 3.5 stars, but rounded up to 4 on Goodreads. And then one I did really enjoy, An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. Really simple little fae romance story. Isabel's a portrait artist. She ends up falling in with who she finds out to be the prince of the Autumn Court, and they have an adventure. I think it only took me about an hour and a half to read this. It was a really easy read. I would put it somewhere between middle grade and YA. I would say it is probably quite good for younger readers of YA. So I thought it was a good little romp and I gave it 3. And then was Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I did enjoy this. I would have preferred it to be a self-contained mystery story, but I have bought the second book in the series, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to reserve judgment until the series is done, but I did quite enjoy it, for all that's worth. And then came Kitty's House of Horrors by Carry On. Now, I had taken a slight break from the Kitty Norville books. She is a werewolf who is a DJ, and she constantly gets into escapes and adventures. This one, she accepts the invitation to be on a sort of Big Brother reality show where all the contestants are supernatural creatures, aside from one. Of course, being Kitty's life, everything goes tits up. Again, really enjoyable. They don't take long to read. They're nice kind of paranormal stories. There is a bit of an element of paranormal romance to the series, but I would say that's mainly in the earlier books. Once you reach sort of here, she's married to someone and, you know, they've got a nice relationship. I like that about them, I have to say. So will I read the next one? Yes, of course I will. I think I gave this one 3.5 stars as well. Now, here's a book that I gave 5 stars and really enjoyed, and that is An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. This book really surprised me. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting to like it so much. I had kind of bought it because of the cover, I'll be honest. And then obviously Neil Gaiman did a blurb on it as well. I really like Neil Gaiman. It basically follows New York as a series of magical families or houses, and they compete every 20 years to see who's going to be in charge of their magical community for the next 20 years. And our protagonist is a sort of unknown who's not a part of any house, and she becomes the champion of a new contender, and the book basically follows her throughout. I would really recommend this book, especially if you like urban fantasy. If you enjoy The Magicians, I would say you'll probably really like this. And if you like the TV series The Magicians, I would say you'll like this as well. Obviously it doesn't kick you in the teeth rather like The Magicians TV series did, but I thoroughly recommend. Okay, and my favourite YA of the month, I would say, was Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I had really liked Scythe, I really liked this. can't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil the plot, but basically humans have developed technology such that they don't die of natural causes anymore, and they have to be reaped or gleaned by people known as scythes, and that is the only way that you can actually die permanently in this world. It is a bit of a dystopia utopia where, of course, there's a layer of corruption and filth beneath, you know, the utopian society, as there always is. I really did enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to the ending book, which I believe is out in November, which is The Toll. Okay, so I'm now on to my biggest disappointment of the month, which was A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer. I was expecting something different from this. I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't get it, and I didn't really enjoy it. I don't know. I just kind of halfway through was like, well, I can see where this is going. And then there was a reveal at the end that, rather than make me excited, just kind of made me roll my eyes and go, well, of course, why not? And I will not be continuing this series, and I'll be unhauling this book as well. Okay, now on to the worst book of the month. Not disappointing, because I kind of expected it, and that was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. In my opinion, I think this book didn't really know what it was trying to be. It was trying to be a bit dystopian, it was a bit fantasy. I think if it had been one or the other, I might have liked it better. But I didn't like the main character, I didn't like anyone, actually. And the ending was just diabolical. So, needless to say, I will not be continuing on with this series, and this book is being on hold. So, yeah, I will not be continuing with the rest of Victoria Aveyard's series. No. One book I was surprised about though, and I did give a good review to, sorry my dog's trying to play at the same time, was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I really liked this. I ended up really liking Jude. I thought the plot was good and it was a bit unexpected in places, so really liked it. Have already bought the next in the series and will be more than likely reading Queen of Nothing when it comes out later on this year. I apologise for any noises at the moment. As you can see, I'm currently throwing this black rubber bone for Finn. Okay, so and if there was an award for most bog standard book of the month, I would recommend this one. It's Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. It's not bad, it's not particularly good, it's just alright. It's another Beauty and the Beast kind of retelling. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I don't really have any more to say about it than that. And there's Finn's head again. Okay, and this month I also read The Diviners by Libba Bray. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It was fine. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would like it. I thought it would be an ideal sort of thing that I would like, but it wasn't as supernatural as I was expecting, if that makes sense, and I just didn't really attach very much to any of the characters. I certainly didn't hate it, but I won't be reading on the rest of the Diviner series because, yeah, I just thought it was okay. Now, I finally read The Woman in the Woods by John Connolly. Excuse the camera shaking, I am still playing with Finn. I gave this one 5 stars because it was so good. I knew it was going to be good. I knew it was going to be 5 stars, or I hoped it was going to be 5 stars, because I am a big fan of John Connolly's work. I really enjoy some of his more standalone books, and while I thought this one was going to be more standalone, it turned out it actually wasn't really. It was actually the setup a lot for the next book, which I'm also going to talk about in this wrap up. There were a few bits in it that I was like, oh my god, please don't do what I think you're going to do, because I thought he was going to kill off like my favourite character at one point, and I thought quite a few things were going to happen, and I was very tense, I'll say, as I got to the end. And John Connolly always manages to slip in a lot of research and a lot of interesting facts and a lot of, you can tell that he genuinely cares about things like, women's issues. Like, he at one point talks quite a bit about women's refuges, and Finn keeps shaking this camera. That's one of the things I really like about him, because he uses the stories to tell not just Charlie Parker's story, but also to sort of, hello. Never forgets the stuff he's already written. I never think with Charlie Parker stories like, well, that's not what he said in book blah blah blah. You never find that with John Connolly. Either he's got the world's most amazing memory, or a series Bible as long as this next book, which is The Book of Bones. I also gave The Book of Bones 5 stars, which again I was expecting to do, but I loved it even more. Now, this is a big book, and there are whole sections of it dedicated to bits of history and callbacks to previous books, and just loads of little details that, as a reader of the Charlie Parker books for such a long time, I really appreciated and I loved. It had all the things in it that I really like about John Connolly. And of course I gave it 5 stars, and I liked as well that it was set in the UK this time. It was nice to have a bit of a change of scene. I mean, I love that main noir thing that him and Stephen King have got going, but it was nice to have a bit of, the UK in there. Of course, I would have liked it if they'd gone to Scotland and all that kind of stuff, but, it was interesting, and there was quite a bit of interesting facts about London in here as well. If you like thrillers, if you like detective stories, if you like supernatural detective stories, I recommend the Charlie Parker books, but I of course don't recommend that you start here with this bad boy. Start with Every Dead Thing, and I think you'll probably love it. And here is my other 5-star book for the month, Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. I thought this was really interesting and different, and I had never read Seanan McGuire before. I had read Mary Grant before. I'd read Into the Drowning Deep, which I thought was a really good thriller. But this was just a bit off the wall, which I really enjoyed, and there's just no way to talk about the plot. I really don't think. It's about a pair of twins. They're separated. They don't know that they're twins, and the reasons for that are made clear in the book. And it's about the bond between the twins, between Roger and Dodger, and how that develops and how they need each other, and about the balance of things in this particular world. Really excellent. Would totally recommend. It is a little bit expensive, but I think it's worth it. Definitely worth it, far more than many other books that I've bought for a similar price. So, 5 stars, one of my favourites of the year so far, would recommend. And I'm not counting this among my 17, but this is the last of the books that I started in August that I have in physical copy, and that is Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This much in, and I'm enjoying it so far. This month I also read Doug Clark and Carol Bundy, the horrific true story behind the Sunset Strip Slayers, which was fine. I gave it, I believe, 3 stars. It was a pretty good, book about a couple of killers I didn't know a lot about. And yeah, if you're interested in Doug and Carol Bundy, then, you could do worse. I also read this month on ebook, I read Necropolis, London and It's Dead by Catherine Arnold. I gave this 3 stars. I thought it was okay. I wasn't so much of a fan of the structure of the book. That was what really kind of got me. And I kind of thought there was parts of it that were more interesting that if I were her, I would have spent a bit more time on, but maybe she just has a different favourite time period than me. Also on ebook, I read The Royal Art of Poison, Fatal Cosmetics, Deadly Medicines and Murder Most Foul. This was really interesting. Continuing theme with me in books about murder, I gave that one 3 stars, and I just thought it was a good sort of interesting history of poison and how people ascribed death to poison when actually poison had nothing to do with it. And it went over some sort of real poisoning or cases that they think were actually poisoning over the sort of span of time. And it covered quite a lot of Italians, which I'm always really interested in Italian history, especially Florentine history. So and that was it. That was my 17 books in August and the one book that I'm still in the middle of reading. I think my next video is going to be book recommendations for mums who like true crime, i.e. my mum, who she and I were having lunch the other day, and we ended up talking about Mindhunter, and I realised I've read loads of really good true crime books that she would probably like. So I'm going to do a recommendations video on that, and I think the other one that I might do is just I'll do my general favourites and maybe a podcast recommendation as well. So any, as usual, recommendations, comments, likes, everything is always appreciated. I also love recommendations from you guys. So if there's any good videos or YouTube channels you recommend, either drop me a DM or something like that and let me know. Until next time though, take care. Bye bye.